Running today with the GTX 960. This is a 2015 video card with 4GB of VRAM, GDDR5. It's got 1024 shaders, running at 1228 MHz on the core clock and 1753 MHz on the memory clock. 128 bits DirectX 12, and today I have two of them in SLI, and we're going to pair them up with this E5 2699 V4 with 22 cores and 22 threads with hyper-threading disabled. I have two of them in SLI, and this is the first time I have two DirectX 12 GPUs in SLI, and this is the most important thing in an SLI. Here you're gonna select how the SLI is going to run. It's very important because if the game is supporting SLI, it will work with NVIDIA recommended. Now let's say the game doesn't support SLI, you can actually force it with FAFR2, and it will use both of the video cards in SLI. I think the best thing we can do, jump in a couple of games and see how the system is holding. Let's go. If we're jumping in Fortnite with this combination, you can actually see on NVIDIA Default, the system is doing a fantastic work. It's got 300 watts consumption. You can actually see the first video card is utilizing maximum load on the core in order to deliver this performance, but in this case, the FPS that is over 200 FPS, you're gonna get from the first video card. The second video card, on the other hand, it's only utilizing 20% and 20 watts consumption from this. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but you do have over 200 FPS, and it's a decent performance when it comes to Fortnite. This situation with NVIDIA recommended, that is default, it doesn't work in SLI. Let's take a look and see how it's running with FAFR. In some cases you got 200 FPS. The moment you go into a building, you have 300 FPS. It's actually a decent performance when it comes to Fortnite and utilizing two GPUs at the same time. You can actually see it's very stable. It doesn't have a lot of influence when it comes to utilizing the core. Only 50% load on the cores, and nearly the same wattage, 320. In some cases it's utilizing more, for instance 356. Yes, so this is a type of performance that is good from a video card like this, because it's very stable even if you're forcing it, you know. So in this case, definitely a good performance with this SLI. If you leave it with NVIDIA Default, it's gonna be not as powerful and stable like using it with SLI. Not very hard to achieve two GTX 960 like this in SLI, because they are not very expensive. It's utilizing only one pin connector, like 1 6-pin connector, and it's actually good. In this case, it's actually a good performance. But if we're jumping in Dota with 1080p maxed out everything, you can see that the video card is doing the job, but only the first one. In teamfight, apparently it's got 110. Hopefully it's going to drop to lower, because every single time you're fighting you get less FPS. So in this case you get 80-90% load on the first video card, because this is default mode with Dota in this case, and 10-15% load on the second video card. 30 degrees on the second one. That's actually an interesting performance from the second video card. But yes, only 135 megahertz on the core of the video card, so that's not okay. But this is what you get. Do I like the performance? Yes, apparently it's a very good performance from one single video card. I mean, one single video card is consuming 100 watts in this game, and it's in order to deliver this amount of performance, you will utilize 290 watts to get 110 FPS. I mean, it's not bad, it's not good, you know, it's just the amount of FPS you will get. Like I said, default mode with NVIDIA, it's okay, you know, but I want to see if I can get more FPS if I force it with FAFR2. But with this mode, with FAFR2, you can clearly see that the performance is totally different. I mean, totally different when I'm referring to the wattage, because I get to consume more watts here with this mode and still get the same FPS. Seriously, it's very interesting. But it's very important to see a team fight, because previously with default mode, it was between 60 and 100 FPS. Now with this amount, I'm actually curious to see if I get a lot of drops. So it's not same thing, 60 FPS. But the only problem I have in this case, I get more wattage consumption, but not a lot of GPU usage. Why do I think there is a problem with the thread on this CPU? Seriously, because if the consumption is just a little higher, that means the GPU, it managed to reach the same amount of power, but the CPU, it's not capable. Nearly the same performance here with default mode, because in default mode I had 60 with 110, and here it's the same 60 to 110, and I got 330 60 watts consumption from the wall, and it's not funny. Seriously. Dota 2 Forced is working as a conclusion, but the problem is it's only consuming more wattage, but it's giving me the same FPS. Maybe the MS is clearer, because you can actually see 10.8 MS in this case. It's not that bad, you know. It's a good performance from this SLI. Same VRAM utilization. The only catch is that both of the cores are equally loaded, and the wattage on one video card is not 100. It's splitted between 60-70 watts on both of the video cards. Very important to understand this game, how it's performing, because on maximum details with 1080p the game is not utilizing both of the video cards. It's not very, how shall I say, SLI friendly. This is NVIDIA Default Crossout, and you can actually see 100% load on the first video card and 1% on the second one. 104 watts consumption from the first video card and 16 on the second one. So overall performance, I got 280-290 watts consumption from the wall. Do I like the performance? Yes, I like it. If I get under 300 watts, this amount of performance, I will say it's okay-ish. You know, it's not the best, but it's doing the job. Considering its maximum details, I just wanted to see how much it's loaded. So I'll keep it here because I want to see how they are different in a constant environment. So if I'm here in the training ground, it's going to be very good. It's very important to understand this performance because I got 400 watts consumption from this setup. Yes, so 400 watts with 80 FPS on average. Apparently I got more FPS, but it's crashing. And hopefully I can get this computer to actually run. It looks gorgeous, you know, the whole thing, but I don't think it's very stable. It's very interesting to see this, how it's performing. So on 400 watts with 100 FPS, between 80 and 100 FPS, you get decent performance. So 90% load on both of the cards. Nearly both of them, they are utilizing 100 watts, hence why I got nearly 400 watts, and 3.1 gig of VRAM only. Well, it's splitting the load on this, and yeah, definitely. Yeah, I got a couple of crashes. So the moment I started the game, it's just out. I'm guessing the game was like, what the heck is going on? I have two of them. I have to load them both up in order to get more FPS. Yes, apparently, yes. So previously I had 290 watts consumption, and now I got nearly 400. 120 watts consumption more from a computer like this in SLI. Very interesting result. In PUBG with 1080p medium details with DirectX 12 as a setting, yeah, you can clearly see that the game is doing a fantastic work. You know, I got 60 FPS here on average. Actually, I left it on DirectX 11 because I know on DirectX 11 it's performing much better. I think I would have had higher FPS, but here it's a DirectX 12 video card, so I was thinking that it's got more compatibility, so I put it on DirectX 12 medium details 1080p 100% render scale, and I want to see the performance. It says that it's got better stability, but we're gonna judge that because in this case you can see that the system it's barely holding to 60 FPS with medium details. Let me check if I see video full screen. Yeah, full screen is very important because SLI doesn't work in borderless window and stuff like that. So on full screen it needs to be with DirectX 12. Maybe on DirectX 12 we're gonna get better performance. So the average FPS that I get in PUBG with medium details here is 60 FPS on default mode. So 290 watts consumption from the computer. Apparently it's not possible. With PUBG you cannot use this in SLI. I was actually surprised that it's not doing the job. Actually it's DirectX 12. I think I have to swap it to DirectX 11 in order to get that SLI. Very surprised that this is not working. So I'll swap it to DirectX 11. Let's see. Spectate. Okay, somebody's alive. Okay, so how much I get? No! Maybe it's a problem with FAFR. It doesn't like the game without forcing 2 GPUs on its head, you know? So hence why it's crashing. I'll keep trying for now for half a minute here. So let's see. Does it crash or does it hold? Well, definitely crashed. So yeah, our engineers will look into this problem. But starting, you managed to see there that 2 GPUs are possible to actually see them. Maybe DirectX 11 Enchanted, but I don't know, it feels very weird to actually try to make a game that is not designed for SLI to actually work. If I take the setup and I put it on DirectX 11 games that are designed for SLI, it will work fantastic. Plus, this video card is very efficient, it's very powerful, it's got a lot of VRAM. I think this setup, I'm gonna make another video where I will put games that are designed for SLI, and I'm 100% sure I will max out everything and it will do a fantastic job. That's the second video that I want to make because this is a fantastic setup. It's an unknown territory for me because I never had two video cards that were DirectX 12 compatible and working in games like this, you know, because it's very weird to see somebody getting two GTX 960s and say, you know what, I want to put them in SLI. Another video card for the same money will do a much better job. For instance, Starfield, Black Myth, they don't work because they are in borderless window. So if you enter the game, it's not full screen, and SLI works only in full screen. So if there is a chance to actually test the game, if it doesn't have full screen, out of the question. All in all, I like it. If you manage to find it entertaining, make sure you smash that like button. And if you have any suggestion in the future, leave a comment and I will see you very soon.